It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Marks and Spencer's and it's been brewed with Northern Monk Brewing Company. And it's a New England IPA, described as juicy and tropical. It's 6.2% ABV. I'm quite excited by this one. I've not had a Northern Monk beer in... I think it's been a few months, since I've had a Northern Monk beer, but generally their beers are of a real good quality, a really solid brewery. 440 milliliter can, brewed and packed in the UK, and then it's Marks and Spencer on the back of the label. Perfect, isn't it? Sounds good. Should we get it out into a glass, see what we get? So, if you have purchased this beer, I know a lot of my long-time following will completely know what New England IPA is. But if you've purchased this out of curiosity, if you've just got yourself into craft beer for the very first time, and you're wondering what you've purchased, what is a New England IPA? Well, it comes from the kind of, it started off in the kind of Vermont area, New England of America, Vermont, USA. And it was beer that was hazy, unfiltered, a nice creamy head. I'm just looking at this one. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, this beer in the glass. Nice and hazy, lovely creamy head, good carbonation. Looks very good. And of course, before that, there was a style of beer called West Coast IPA, you might have heard of that, where it was very bitter on the back end. And I think that was very craft beer, wasn't it? The West Coast IPA, the real big bitterness, the 100 IBUs, the International Bittering Units. I've got a lot to cover today, haven't I? The 100 IBUs, really bitter beers. If you like that sort of thing, fantastic. But if you didn't, and of course a lot of people don't, then I think the brewers were very clever. This Vermont style, this New England style IPA, where the bitterness comes right down and you're getting a lot more of the hop flavour rather than bitterness, is much more accepting for the common man on the, not just the common man, but the man on the street, the man who's picked this up and thought, what's a New England IPA? And they found themselves on YouTube watching this. Lots of hop flavour. The hops are generally from America, or a lot of brewers use New Zealand or Australian hops, but they come from that region because the sun is beating down on the earth and watering these hops, and the amount of sun they get, you get a much more kind of citrusy, piney, flavoursome hop because of the amount of sun it receives from that fantastic thing in the sky. Let's get the aroma then. Yeah, and that aroma is of pineapple, a little bit of tangerine, a little bit of grapefruit. Those lovely sun-baked hop aromas that you get. And the beer smells very soft and inviting, very inviting. Smells good. So if you have found this review by looking for what a New England IPA is, leave a comment in the comments box. I'm sure our followers, we've got quite a decent following here on YouTube, who will help you out. They'll be able to answer any questions that you have on New England IPA. Ask the question in the comments box down below, and my good following will gladly help you out. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. super soft, super drinkable, fantastic, fluffy, light. Carbonation pushes the beer around the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. Wonderful. Starts off with a little bit of sweet malt. Makes its way into the middle with like some tinned pineapple. I've just opened a tin of pineapple and that kind of sweet liquid that's in with the tinned pineapple. That, you know, you might drink it from the can. Just wonderful. Just fantastic. Sweet, but very flavoursome at the same time. Pineapple flavour. I like what Marks and Spencer's are doing here. They've recently launched this range of beers. There's a Polly's Watt Pale Ale, which is fantastic. This Northern Monk New England IPA, which is very, very good. Very good. There's a lot of different beer. I mean, they got a fantastic selection of German lagers and Weiss beers in Marks and Spencer. We're lucky in the Cardiff branch. They've kind of, it was a trial store, a store that they kind of, it needed modernising, so they modernised it in a way that the alcohol part looks like a bottle shop. It looks fantastic. It's like its own little area, and then the meat part looks like a butcher's, and it looks it's a really good concept. In fact, it's worked really well for Marks and Spencer's. They're going to roll it out throughout the whole of the UK. It's strange. You walk through supermarket doors, you make your way into the food part, and then you like turn into the alcohol part, and there's wine barrels, lots of wine, lots of whiskey, but they've left all the ceiling tiles out, so it's all kind of like exposed, like a nightclub. Like you see all, you know, like you go into Next or something, and all the kind of, you can see all the pipe work and all the ceiling work, but at the same time they've made it really feel like you've just walked into a bottle shop. It's amazing. It's amazing. But they haven't just made you feel like you're in a bottle shop or an alcohol shop. And they put some good quality products in there as well. They backed it up with some good, you know, beers from Northern Monk, beers from Polly's Brew Co, Magic Rock, great German beers from Paulaner, an ABK brewery, the Marks and Spencer's German lager. There's a real good kind of amount of quality there. I like it. I like going to Marks and Spencer, especially for their alcohol. So a couple of things I want to touch on. There's not much bitterness on the back end of this one. There was never going to be bitterness, but I talked IBUs at the beginning of the review. That's international bittering units. Your taste, how the professionals will tell you how to, you know, how your taste works, is 0 IBUs up to 100 IBUs. 100 is the most your palate can take. 100 IBUs is the most of your palate. Your brain will allow you to kind of take in terms of bitterness. Back in the day, as I mentioned earlier, West Coast IPAs, back in 2000 and, I don't know, 2011, 2012, it was very popular to produce like smacking 100 IBU beers. They were fun to drink. They were a lot of fun to drink, but they weren't for everyone. You were never going to see Marks and Spencer's kind of putting those sort of beers on their shelf. So when that Vermont style of beer came out, that New England IPA, where everything's softer, everything's more fluffy, accessible, drinkable, the hops, the flavour of the hops come through wonderfully well with that kind of wafer-like biscuit malt from the base beer. It all kind of come together. It was a platform really for craft beer to hit the masses. And it's taken a long time. It's taken a really long time for these brewers to really kind of like fine-tune their beers. If you think early on, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, I remember drinking Sierra Nevada Pale Ale back in the day. You can still buy it in Morrison's and some other supermarkets, but it was the staple. That was your staple IPA back in the day. If you wanted to try an American IPA, that was the beer to try. I still love Sierra Nevada. I think their beers are fantastic. Their Torpedo. Yeah, it's just great beer. But things have moved on. Things have evolved. If you had a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and you put it up against this New England IPA, it would almost be a completely different drink now. And what they've done, the brewers, as I said, very cleverly, they've just made the beer more accessible to kind of the general public, if you like, not just a small geeky community of beer lovers. I like it. It looks good. It smells good. It tastes good. Yeah, very good. I mean, look at the lacing. Look at the carbonation chasing that head up the glass. Wonderful. I like that enough to give it, I'm going to say 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. A really good solid brew from Northern Monk. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.